Hey there. In this video today, it's about relationship astrology, compatibility. When hard aspects are good in relationship charts, whether that's synastry or composite. Remember, synastry is when you lay two charts on top of each other, you see how one affects the other and vice versa. And that tells you about sort of the day-to-day, how we get along or don't get along. What are the quirks of the relationship? How do you like this part of that person or not, right? Where are the micro tensions? And then the composite chart is more about general values. It's the average of the two charts: general values, shared values, or opposing values, areas of very general disruption within a relationship. So just want to talk briefly about when hard aspects are good, because of course it's not all going to be soft or good aspects in any relationship chart. It's not going to be all trines. Okay. For example, trines and sextiles. If that were the case, then the relationship would be very boring. Okay. You have to have something to achieve, to accomplish, to work through together, some means of testing the relationship itself against hardship, against crisis. And a lot of times that is what these hard aspects bring us. There's a lot of shadow work within the relationship happening whenever in the case of oppositions, and there are a lot of boundaries and lines that need to be set and lines in the sand that need to be drawn in the case of squares. But the case where, and of course that's important in any case, and you don't want the negatives to outweigh the positives necessarily, but the case in which outright, pretty much across the board, hard aspects are good in a relationship chart of any kind is when one or more of the people in that relationship have that same aspect within their own birth chart. So if one person has, Venus square to Pluto in their birth chart, that's normally seen as a hard aspect and one that makes it very difficult for that person to be in a relationship with anyone else. But if that same aspect shows up in a synastry chart or in a composite chart, then that shows that there is a greater force at work in the relationship, and that the struggle not only will yield benefits and give the relationship strength for both people, but also for that individual who has to deal with that on their own, deal with that same conflict of energy between those same two planets on their own in their own birth chart more internally, right? And conversely, the same is true whenever there's a hard aspect in one person's birth chart and they have consciously worked through that thing internally for themselves. It means that they're going to have a really good idea of how to guide that other person in the relationship through that same sort of struggle between the two of them, right? As long as they are aware, like in the case of Venus square Pluto, which person is carrying the Venus stuff into that conflict, which person is carrying the Pluto stuff into that conflict, that person should be wiser for having that same aspect in their own birth chart. So that's really all I want to say on that. That it seems like it presents a double challenge, but because of that, the individual or both individuals, if that's the case, if somebody, it's actually one reason, just to not sidetrack myself, it's one reason why people who are born like within a few days of each other, or even within like a month or two, who have a lot of the same, outer planet hard aspects, or even inner ones with like Mars contacting an outer planet, because Mars is the slowest of the inner planets. It's why people with birthdays who are born within a small period of time of each other tend to be pretty compatible. It's because they've had to deal with the same challenges on their own that they are facing in the relationship, or vice versa, or at the very least, they learn to deal with it on their own through the struggles of the relationship. And as long as they both see that the relationship is worth the juice of it is worth the squeeze, then they will become better as individuals as well. So I hope you found this little insight about hard aspects, when hard aspects can be good in a relationship chart, helpful and useful. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.